we are going to look with renewed efforts in our continuation of the practice of alternate ideas about ourself, beginning with fundamental admissions that we all emanate from a single source of reality, and that within the particulars of our minds, in recognition of each other, we will establish new parameters of ideas concerning the intervals between what we express as the physical mind of illuminate identity, of particulars contained within fabrics of the idea of light association that are actually holograms of light within our own minds. I want to say a particular welcome to you at this time as the master teacher of this course in the possibility of alteration of yourself in reflections of light, that beginning for this next interlude of time are going to be in continuing ideas or effort for you to change your mind. And we're going to be using the word that you saw in the title of this. Okay, and I'll be coming to it in just a second. What I wanted you to see with me is that the beginning episode of this is going to be the idea of the mindfulness of the universe. Can you see this with me? We could begin this with any ideas you have about yourself. How about, let's teach for a minute. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. Now, let's pose that question to each other with the idea that our attempts to express a definition that we're going to use concerning the power of our individual minds to make decisions about what we want to see out in the universe. And we're going to be using applications of science. The reasonableness that the formulation of my mind in what I want to believe are my associations in a platform of energy association that on a continuing basis is revealing to me the inevitability of the application. Stand by, I'm going to use the word. Are you ready? Anthropic. The fundamental idea of the inevitability that with the process that's contained within your consciousness idea of how you appear as Homo sapien in this little earth that revolves around this little spot of sun, cannot not contain in the orchestration of your mind, listen to me, a purpose for the universe. The simplicity of the acknowledgement of anthropic endeavor is nothing but a basic admission that if we look at the universe as it is wholly contained out there in all of its degrees of energy, of light and history and reflections of what we want to see within our own mind, we are never going to be successful at subtracting ourselves from an occurrence of Homo sapien, of a human being, within a memory factor where he recognizes in the power of his individual consciousness decision. Can you hear this with me? He cannot not be but a power of the entirety of creative reality. One of the aspects of the science when we attempted to teach, and we can look at it together if you like, is a holographic universe. Here it is. The idea that the memories you're telling yourself holographically about your association with mind are actually only memories that you're having about yourself. When we look at the science community of the admission of power of decision, we are faced virtually immediately with the idea that the reflections of light that justify our ideas about ourselves cannot not be, let's use the term here, memory. Say to me, memory. Good. Memories of the occurrence of reflections of consciousness light that identify us, now say to me, anthropically. Thank you. That anthropically, in the entire consciousness of the idea of a human being, cannot not be contained memories of the entirety of the identity of the universe as it is expressed by observation, you look with me, as being 16,000 million years old. Now, the article on the Anthropic principle, it was in Time magazine too. I see with some excitement, here, look at this. This was the latest edition of Time, okay? And there was a 2-page or 3-page idea of sharing with you what occurred in what you call '04 or the 2004 realization of the optical illusion of correspondence within your own mind, that all humans, somewhere within their formulation, listen, are acknowledging a single source. See that? Now, my concern, representing to you the enlightenment of my mind, and the term we use as a master teacher of alternatives, can be nothing else but the utilization of a quantum idea of association of energy forms of what appears to be reflection of my own mind that cannot not include the idea of an anthropic relationship of myself, listen, within a cycle of time. Now, my concern about your allowance for the cycle of the possibility of the entirety of association of your own mind does not concern me if we admit from a science viewpoint that the entirety of the universe is about 16,000 million years. Because anthropically, the entire nature of consciousness cannot exceed a couple of million years. So now we have reduced the necessity within the consciousness of the identity of the anthropic principle to include the idea that contained within each human mind, regardless of the distance that's represented between the so-called beginning and the end of time, cannot be a moment, okay? Before it began and after it ended, very simply because anthropically it would be the recognition, say to me, single source. Now, the offering I have of you, obviously there couldn't possibly be anything new about the consciousness of your self-identity based on what you want to hear in the miracle of the proceeding of an increase in the frequency of the possibility, and we use the term, I'm a teacher of a Course in Miracles through what we term the resurrection of anthropic principles employed by Jesus Christ. Thank you for that. That is the religious idea that there could appear within your arrangement anthropically of the entirety of a single identity of yourself that could not somewhere out in space-time contain the entirety of any factoring that you would organize in that short 1 or 2 million years in order to arrive at the consciousness of what you are. The obvious objection that you employ in order not to accept the outcome have to be a reduction in the kaleidoscope of what you think your energy factor is in order that you may share momentary illuminate ideas of reflection of light that find correspondence in the behavior procedure by which you and I set up dramas of recognition of the stories within the hologram that we're telling each other.